This tutorial video is designed to accompany lesson 44 of Learn Your Scales and Arpeggios for Saxophone, the last lesson in this course, which suggests some avenues you can explore to develop your scale playing further. The worksheet runs to 31 pages, but doesn't aim to instruct in the same way as the previous 43 lessons. This course was designed to guide you through learning all your major and minor scales and arpeggios, as well as the main non-diatonic items. That job is now complete, and your musical and technical grasp should now be sufficient for you to be able to build your own structures for learning. Scales and arpeggios are not an end in themselves, but a means to an end. A secure knowledge enables you to navigate the instrument in all the keys and provides an exercise regime for you to develop your playing technique. This worksheet provides 8 areas into which you can extend your scale practice. The first is practicing your scales in thirds. A scale in thirds is a simple sequence in which you proceed by moving forwards by 2 steps, followed by backwards by 1 step. For example, here's the D major scale in thirds. To begin with, you should aim to follow the same fingerings as in the straight scale. However, a scale in thirds involves some arpeggio movements as well as scale movements, so the choice is not always so straightforward. Your knowledge of the instrument should by now be sufficient to enable you to think creatively and devise your own solutions, but some suggestions are provided on the worksheet. For example, you may choose to use some middle and some side key fingerings for C in C major in thirds. A slightly different model is suggested for scales in thirds, where you need to keep within the range of the straight scales. Here is B flat major in thirds. And F sharp major in thirds. Some scales in thirds necessitate cross fingerings, where alternative fingerings can be applied in the straight scales. Here, for example, is D sharp harmonic minor in thirds, in which you will need to cross finger between E sharp and F sharp. You can also practice scales in fourths or create other musical sequences from your scales to effectively turn them into technical studies. The second area you can explore is extending the range of your scales to cover the whole range of the instrument. Obviously, when playing music in any key, you are likely to need to venture outside the range of the relevant scale as practiced so far. Playing your scales over an extended compass can turn each item into a rather shapeless sprawl of notes, and you may need to add an extra little twist to ensure you land on a strong beat. Here is the C sequence of scales extended to cover the full range between bottom B flat and top F. Some exam syllabuses also stipulate extended arpeggios, but a much better way to cover the whole range in your arpeggio work is the third area presented here for exploration, practicing arpeggios in their inversions. For example, starting on E, you can play E major and E minor in root position, C major and C sharp minor in the first inversion, and A major and A minor in the second inversion. Here is the E sequence of arpeggios. When playing inversions of arpeggios in the sequences extending over a twelfth, the top note will vary through the sequence. First and second inversion arpeggios will actually be for a 13th. Here is the A sequence of arpeggios. You can also add the dominant sevenths in their inversions. In the E sequence, you would play E7A, C7B, A7C, and F sharp 7D. And here are the A sequence dominant sevenths. With the addition of the diminished seventh, that gives you 11 arpeggios in each sequence, a total of 132 in all. The fourth area you can explore is extending your range beyond that so far covered in this course. Reference is made on the worksheet to the great saxophonist Sigurd Rascher, who was a pioneer of the upper reaches and made some revolutionary steps in formalizing the techniques involved in his detailed instruction manual, Top Tones for the Saxophone. Rascher demonstrated that extending the range involves far more than simply finding the right fingerings. And it doesn't fall within the remit of this course, which is about mechanics, to replicate his teachings in any detail. We offer 333 fingerings for top F sharp and notes for more than an octave above. These are not presented with any explanations or in any particular order, and there is no guarantee that they will all work for you, but they should be considered very much within the context of Rascher's teachings. They offer a resource from which you can make your own choices. One thing you should bear in mind, what works on the alto will not necessarily work on the soprano, tenor or baritone. The fifth area to explore is varying meter. Throughout this course, the scales and arpeggios have been presented in uniform metric structures. Scales, seventh arpeggios and chromatic scales have been grouped in fours. Here is B flat major, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here is C7, 1, 2, 1, 2. And here's a chromatic scale starting on B. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Arpeggios have been grouped in threes. Here's C sharp minor. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The danger of always applying the same meter is that a tendency to accentuate certain notes can arise, making the execution of the scale uneven. Some suggestions are offered on the worksheet as to how you can apply different meters, but the possibilities here are virtually endless. The sixth area is practicing scales and arpeggios in various rhythmic patterns. Here are some examples. The seventh suggested area is applying different articulations. Exam syllabuses generally specify that scales should be played tongued or slurred at the examiner's request. At a more advanced level, some exams specify slurred, legato-tongued and staccato. Here's slurred. Legato-tongued. And staccato. At an advanced level, the whole business of articulating with the tongue becomes a complex area of technique, and this scale method has not set out to address it in any detail. But tongued scale work is important, as obtaining a uniform response throughout the range of the instrument is challenging. Different registers respond in different ways. Tongued scale work can also be used to exercise various articulation patterns. Some examples are provided on the worksheet. Here is the C sequence with a range of tongued and slurred patterns. The final suggested area is varying tempo and dynamics in your scale work. The aim of this course has been to enable you to develop your technical facility through scale learning, and this means learning to execute everything rapidly. Some slower work can also be useful to help you develop homogeneity of tone and dynamic level, accurate intonation and smoothness of legato. Slower work will also require you to vary your choice of fingerings, especially on high notes, and changing the dynamic can alter the pitch and response of notes. And this is where the course really does end. If you have worked all the way through this process, following all the instructions and completing all the practice plans, you should by now have a secure knowledge of all your scales and arpeggios. You have learnt all the diatonic scales and arpeggios, including dominant sevenths, as well as some non-diatonic materials such as chromatic scales, whole tone scales and diminished sevenths. You deserve congratulations. It has been a long journey and has called for much hard work along the way. You will need to continue to practice them regularly, with the emphasis from this point on improving the way you play them, listening for evenness, control of tone and dynamics, and developing your articulation. As your performance of scales and arpeggios improves, your general technique develops. Scale work is indispensable if you are to do justice to the repertoire. Those who have devoted their life to saxophone playing would say you have only just begun, though this should not detract from what you have achieved. The purpose of this series of lessons has been to enable you to build a secure base of knowledge which you can use to plan your further development as a player. What is offered in Lesson 44 is merely a set of suggestions, but true success comes from taking responsibility for your own learning. On the other hand, you may choose to stop here and concentrate on using what you have learned to enjoy playing at the level you have reached. If so, you have acquired a skill which can bring you musical fulfillment and much happiness for the rest of your life. Good luck.